Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me, as always, is my co host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hello. I do not have a lightsaber, so unfortunately, you guys are going to have to go elsewhere for that kind of entertainment.
Man, the internet blew up today. Well, actually, just this whole week, we were talking before the show, we had Jurassic World.
Yes. Well, we understand what you mean, and like we need to tell the people out there to calm down. If we were to compare trailers, I'm going to put this out there. Jurassic World, put it above Star. I'm much more excited to see Jurassic
Absolutely.
because
And I feel like we're going to get hate mail for that statement,
you know
but
what? This is how you get the clicks, right? If Polygon has taught us anything, you just make really drastic and out of their claims, and then people just come clicking.
exactly. So, I
But
mean, yeah, and then we got the Jurassic World trailer a few days ago, and then we got the Star Wars trailer today. Man, it's a good time to be a geek. Whether you're huge into either one of those franchises, like it just seems like they're just knocking it out of the park.
yeah,
So, I mean, I
Arc.
huh?
Yeah,
Park
yeah, get it.
That was totally unintentional. I'm
Oh, I don't
so
know about
witty.
that. Good stuff.
But yeah, so we had a really good week as geeks. I actually have not played too much stuff because anyone who's been following me on Twitter or who listens to the Angry Chicken knows that I had my eyes lasered last Saturday. So I'm still recovering. If I'm blinking like crazy on the live stream and stuff, then it's an eyeball thing. But most of the blood is gone, so that's good.
That is good.
Yeah, I said that on Angry Chicken that I was like, well, the kind of one of the side effects is that my eyes are full of blood, and they were like, oh, and I was like, yeah, well, they have to slice your eyeballs, so when they slice your eyeballs, there's blood. It happens.
So you look like you're an extra on the Ring or something. Just with
Yes,
these red
yes.
bloody eyeballs.
I did have
Gross.
very bloody eyeballs, but they're mostly gone now. It's yeah, I look almost normal. People don't stare at me funny anymore, which is good.
Well, then, like, it's perfect if you're out in public and people start to notice you. You just kind of go, ugh, you just kind of pretend to be a zombie or something and
That's
take
kind of
full
what it looked
advantage of it.
like. That's kind of
Yeah.
what it looked like. Very Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm mostly healed. It's still kind of hard to focus on stuff sometimes, but I'm getting there. It's better every day. So
Good.
I'm wearing mascara today for the first time in a week, which is so exciting. Oh, 2 weeks actually, 2 weeks because I couldn't do it for a week before either. So
Nice.
back to wearing makeup.
Mascara is, I have no idea what mascara does. Some for the eyelashes and then like a little jingle plays in the background.
Yes,
Some,
that's
it's
exactly
like,
it.
yeah, I don't know. I should know. Well, I mean, it's no problem if you do know. Let's go. Let's move on. I've been, just,
So yeah, I haven't been playing too much. I did have a couple of nights of Warlords under my belt, but we can talk about that later. First thing I want to talk about because we didn't get to it last week really, Smash Brothers.
of course.
Dude, tell me about Smash Brothers and
Well,
show me your statues because I don't think you showed the statues last week, did you?
I gave people a little tease. I told people that I did a bit of a demonstration on YouTube showing these and how they work with the game. So first and foremost, the amiibos. This is the Mario amiibo. I'm gonna pull up my camera so I can actually see where I'm pointing this. Okay,
Which
there's
is
Mario.
yeah. So you showed me this last week, and I know it's supposed to be a fireball, but it just looks like goo.
It does. I mean, Nintendo probably could have gone for like the solid orange, and we would have forgiven them. But fire is a little translucent when you put.
Yeah, it is, but I don't know. It just it looks wet to me.
Yeah,
Fire's not supposed to be wet.
it's not. But I mean, that's the thing. Like that's a good point. Like Mario, the Mario figurine is probably the best one you can get. It's very detailed. It's well painted.
Well, it's
Usually,
iconic, right? Like
yeah.
Nintendo is Mario.
Usually when you buy these types of figures, I find with like these $15 figures, the paint is like it's like they didn't even pass like painting inside the lines, like paint by numbers. You
Yes.
know, like the blotches, the eyes aren't quite right because the pupil is outside of where it's supposed to be. This is just very well detailed. Nothing's out of place, but like you mentioned, the fireball looks like a bit of a ball of goo, and that's my main issue with the figures is that all of them have little imperfections that could have been fixed by just having a better design. So when you look at Mario and you say, well, Mario, we know Mario exists without his fireball. Why not just omit the fireball and have Mario do a cool pose.
Or have him holding a mushroom or something.
Sure.
Mushrooms are easy and, again, iconic.
Exactly. But the issue is that what Nintendo's trying to do with these figures is um, emulate what you see in the game through the figures. And I don't know if you've how familiar you are with the Smash Brothers franchise. Have you played any of the
I had Smash Brothers on the GameCube. I think
Okay.
that's the last time that I had a Smash Brothers game. I think that was Melee, I think.
Yeah, so that's actually a good point because the intro movie kind of showcases like these figurines that look an awful lot like this, and like a disembodied hand throwing them onto the stage, and then they come to life literally, right? So that's the idea is that they're taking the trophies in the game and they're creating these toys. Um, but therein lies the issue where you have a really cool design in game, like the Mario in game one looks fantastic, but they chose to emulate it perfectly. So the Mario one looks all right, but then you look at the next one I have here, Samus.
Oh, thought you were going to show the other one. And
No, I'm saving that one for last because we actually went over these off air
Yeah.
last time. So this is Samus. I picked up three of these, and the issue
Is
is
he holding a penis?
what? No, what are you talking about?
The blue thing. It kind of looks like.
That is not a penis. Maybe if you look at it from a profile view, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it just.
Trying to angle it so you can.
It's just-
I'm trying to. There.
how can you not see that?
I don't know. Maybe I've had these things on my desk long enough, and like a quick glance, like yeah, that's a penis, Ryan. I don't know. Well, this is a female. If you haven't known, Samus Aran. Samus Aran. I don't know if that's how you like to pronounce it, but the issue here is that like Samus is a really cool character, but that's a pretty boring pose, right?
It is.
Yeah, and you can kind of see like it's hard to see, but the way she's doing like a high heel step. So, anyways, it's just again another one of those like design decisions, and then finally, you've got Link with the P stick.
Which is just. Why? I don't understand why they didn't make it clear. It just blows my mind. It looks like he's peeing.
It does, and I mean, like his skirt is kind of lifted up enough that like it could just be just going all over. So I don't know. I don't
His skirt,
understand.
his tunic.
Ever. When was the last time you saw someone run around with a tunic on? So
Last Zelda game.
I suppose. But the issue is with these again, this is an issue. Like in game, Link's pose on the trophy looks amazing. But when you pull it into the real world, it's kind of hard to have a character standing up just with one point of contact on the base, right? So I was actually talking to some people on Twitter and they were like, oh, I want to get an amiibo. I want this one. I want that one. And I said like, well, definitely pick up the Mario one. The Kirby one looks great too. But all the other ones just
Isn't
have this...
Kirby just pretty much a big pink blob?
But see, that's right. That's why you cannot get Kirby wrong.
I was gonna say that'd be really, really hard to screw up. And it'd be like if they made him, I don't know, purple or something. Everyone would be like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the issue. Like the easier the design, like Yoshi even looks kind of off. Like his arms look like they would just fall off based on where they've had to like attach them or something. I don't know. It's just they're all really neat. They're inexpensive in the sense of buying a collectible from Nintendo that looks decent.
okay.
Their functionality is actually like if you're a big Nintendo fan and you own a lot of Nintendo games, Nintendo is really hardcore about supporting these in as many games as possible. So of course there's the Smash stuff that and how that works, and that's the main feature of these guys is that you like scan them into the game and they start at level 1 and they train. So supposedly you're supposed to be able to like fight against them, and they learn your style and adapt to it.
Okay. So then if you level it up to say level 10, I have no idea what levels are, how many you can get, but if you level it up to like level 10 and then now they're going to be compatible with say Mario Kart just for shits and giggles, do you then get a level 10 Mario in Mario Kart, or do you start again at level 1 and just have a level 1 Mario in Mario Kart and a level 10 in Smash Brothers?
See that's the confusing bit, and something that Nintendo is having a hard time getting across, because one of the issues with these types of like life to toy things is that you're buying a $15 toy that's compatible with one game, and that's it, and that if you want to play just that one game, it's fine. Like if you look at Disney Infinity, you've got the Infinity platform to play those toys on. That's it. But with these Nintendo figurines, is that they're compatible with multiple games. However, they can only save data from one game at a time.
Oh.
Yeah.
See,
So
and I feel like Nintendo, and I'm really trying not to rip on them all
yeah.
the time, but I find that Nintendo has issues for
Hmm.
whatever reason with storage. And it seems like every time you turn around, you have to make a choice between one game or the other, or you have to buy something else to help hold all of the stuff. And storage is got to be the cheapest thing right now in terms of like hardware. So I don't understand why they keep selling these consoles and these extras with the ability to, like, with very very limited abilities usually tied to storage. I'm just like, oh god, stop being so damn cheap and just, god, you can go to the dollar store and get like a 16 gig USB stick. Like,
Yeah.
how can it only store data from one game? Like, my head is exploding right now.
Yeah, it is. It's weird, and but that's the other thing too is that Nintendo isn't. And the chat room says I'm not selling them on. It's like, well, it's not my job to sell these for you, sell you what you said, to sell these to you. That's Nintendo's job. All right, like, and some people are saying, yeah, they're decent looking figures, but that's not worth the price for just that. Well, let's get into the functionality part of it and kind of explain a little bit more. It only saving one game. So that in theory sounds terrible. And it is because, like, say for example, my Mario figurine, I scan him into Smash Brothers, he becomes a Smash Brother amiibo and stores his fighting profile on there. All of my characters are like level 40. It's actually really fun. Like I joked off air last time. Is like I felt really weird because I was sitting the day one I had it. I scanned in all my amiibos. I had my GameCube controller. Yes, they have an adapter so you can
Yeah.
play with your GameCube controller, which is fantastic. And I'm sitting there playing with these three amiibos, and I'm like, man, this is really awkward because I'm playing against toys. I should really be playing against real people because that's the whole point of
Yeah.
Smash Brothers. But I actually had some friends over eventually, and I said like, okay, let's play a team battle. It's like, well, we're not gonna play a team battle. There's only two of us. Like, no, let's you and me versus my three amiibos. Three amigos. I knew there was a reason I bought three of them. And we lost terribly. Like,
Really?
yeah, these guys get really good. Like, they're like, I would even put them above like the level 9 computer. So you really need to stop. I know she's not a fan of amiibo either.
Yeah. She just
Uh,
wants to chew on them, that's all.
Probably.
She's
I
like,
don't
you
know.
have toys and I can't put them in my mouth, and I am not a fan of this.
Oh God, that would be. That would. Yeah, I would not be a fan of that. So again, like their functionality in Smash Brothers is really cool. But the reason they can still be compatible with other games while only saving one game on them. Let's take Link for example. Link is right now probably the best amiibo to buy because he's compatible with three games. So you can literally have him uh, as an amiibo fighter in Smash Brothers. You can scan him into Mario Kart to unlock a costume, which it's not that fantastic. I don't think you'd want to race
Really?
as
After all the money and stuff that we spend in Smite,
yeah.
just to have different skins, which are, arguably just costumes.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh no, you scan them in, you just get a costume. I'm like, oh, you get a skin?
Yeah, I guess you're right. And again, like it's this is what makes these things a little more valuable than something you like a Skylanders thing or a Disney Infinity toy, is that the possibility of using this guy in 10 games over the next year until we inevitably get another one for the next Zelda game is it starts to present a good value because you're unlocking a costume for your Mii in Mario Kart, which they could easily sell for 99 cents a pop. And then
Mm-hmm.
you look at the next game that I'm going to activate them in, which is Hyrule Warriors, and you unlock an exclusive weapon, which you cannot get anywhere else. It's basically changes the way your fighter plays.
Okay.
Um,
So basically, you just, you've only got like a save game in Smash Brothers. Everything else is just unlockables based on. So if you scan him into, say, Mario Kart, do you automatically lose your Smash Brothers data, or is it only when it tries to save?
No, it's only when it tries to save. So the only game out right now that'll save to these figures is Smash Brothers. And I would think that Nintendo, when they come out with another game that will save, they'll come out with a new figure specific to that game. So another game coming out that has amiibo functionality that's going to get patched in 2015 is Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker.
Okay.
None of the amiibos out that are coming out apply. There's no Captain Toad amiibo. So by logic, you'd think that in some point in 2015 they'll come out with a Captain Toad figure, you know? So
you were talking about the price point, and they were $15, right?
yeah,
So
they're like 13.96 or something here in Canada, and I think like once you factor in taxes, about
Right.
$15.
So if we're talking $15 a figure, would it be worth it once they have functionality in other games? Or I guess maybe not would it be worth it, but do you think maybe this is what Nintendo's trying to do, is have you go, oh, well, it's only $15. I want to save my Smash Brothers game, so I'll have a Smash Brothers Mario, and then, I'll buy another Mario, and he'll be my whatever game Mario, Like, do you think that that's something that or that's the idea behind making these fairly nice figurines so cheap?
I think that's their goal, is just to create these toys that allow you to appreciate the way they look, and also the fact that to make them compatible with as many games as possible, because that was sort of their promise. Like, this is not a figure to game. This is a figure to many games relationship. There's going to be lots of opportunities. Like, even
Well,
with
and I
my
guess like
Samus.
that's kind of what I'm kind of getting at, is that maybe it is like a one figure to one game thing, because you can only have one save game on your figure, that they're saying, oh yeah, look at all the things that it's compatible with, look at all the things that you can do, and then there's this huge but at the end of that sentence.
Yes.
But you can only save one game. So I feel like if you're that avid of a Nintendo gamer, which, I mean, you are probably the most avid Nintendo gamer of anyone I know, because there's just not that many out there. But I mean, if you're a hugely avid Nintendo gamer and you want to, go back to all these different games and play all these different games over and over and over again, and have your max level Mario in 2 or 3 different places, are you going to buy 2 or 3 different Marios? Is Nintendo essentially just going back on their word, for lack of a better kind of descriptor?
Well, it remains to be seen. Like, so far, Nintendo hasn't unveiled a game that is making me decide between Smash Brothers and Mario X or something. Not Mario Triple X. That would be a terrible game.
That would be
Also
awful.
not made by Nintendo, probably.
No, probably
But
not. But someone in Japan.
yeah, probably. It's probably. Don't Google that,
No.
folks. And I mean, when that instance comes up, it's like, well, you're such a big fan of Mario, like, you're never gonna want to buy the same figure twice. I'm sure there are people out there, they probably have kids, and like, okay, this is your Mario one. You can chew on them occasionally, but don't touch my Mario. But when a new Mario comes out, probably, they'll have a new design. So let's say they do a Mario Galaxy 3, like, there'll be a Mario Galaxy amiibo, you know? So I don't know, like, it's a decent idea. It's the first one. Like, the Disney Infinity ones always look really cool, especially now that they have the Marvel ones. But the game was never there for me. Like, there was no reason for me to go out and buy them, minus just having them on my shelf. I don't actually own any, but um, for these, I feel like they're compatible with some of my favorite games. They're going to be compatible with many games down the road, hopefully, if they're successful. We don't have numbers on these yet. They've only been out for a week. So we don't know how dedicated Nintendo's going to be to this platform. But I don't know. It's a decent idea. It's not new by any stretch, but it's fun. And I mean, if anyone's out there picking up Smash Brothers, it's $15. Definitely go out, buy one of your favorite characters to have, whether it's just going to be on your shelf or you're actually going to bring them into the game and kind of fight against them and train them, and then fight against your friends and team up against them and try to do whatever. It's a lot of fun, and it's a new way to play, and Like, you don't have to buy them all. Like, that's like some people were like, oh man, there's gonna be 30 of these. I hope Nintendo doesn't want me to buy. No, you don't have to buy them all. Just buy one.
You don't have to,
Well, if
but
you want to, I'm sure Nintendo's just like, wow,
yeah.
yes. But me, I am saying, like, go to the Amiibo site. Some of them look better than others. Some of them look terrible. Like the Captain Falcon one, if you thought like Link's P stick was bad, Captain Falcon's got a purple stick right up his butt. You know? It's bad. Like he's like kicking midair, so it's like,
Oh.
oh, what are we gonna do? Like, well, we want to center the figure on the little coin here, so we're gonna have to stick this purple thing up his butt. Yeah, okay, that won't look
And
bad.
this is why I don't understand some of these design decisions. You know, like those sticks could be clear, and on most other collectible figurines that have awkward poses, they're either clear or tied to the figure somehow. Like I'm thinking the oh shoot, what's her name from Overwatch? That figurine, the girl that blinks around.
Tracer.
Tracer, thank you, Tracer. The statue of Tracer, like she's not actually on the base. She's got her like orange swoopy thing that's kind of like on her, like holding her up sort of thing. But that makes sense because it's tied into her, how she moves in the video game and what you see all the time. Like Link does not have a yellow stick coming out of his butt in every single Zelda game. Like
It's just again, it's a matter of like choosing a better pose that fits for the toy. You know, when they design, I was looking into this podcasts and other articles. When they design an Infinity toy or a Skylanders toy, they start with the toy. They make a really good toy, and then they make the model in the game. You know, they go from toy to game, and that creates two really good looking products rather than one really good looking in-game model while
one
a
kind of like
subpar figure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably move on from this because we've been talking about this.
Talking about toys, what the hell?
Yeah, for like ever. Speaking of toys, I got some new toys in Warlords because I got my garrison to level 3 and I got me a Ben Brode.
Nice.
Well,
Now,
Ben Brode is not the toy. Ben Brode is the merchant that sells the toys. So I got the Hearthstone board, which cost me like 1,000 gold, and I don't even care because it's the best thing ever. And I also got the winning hand, which basically makes the like fireworks go off and stuff, and it's like the da 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 when you win a Hearthstone game.
Nice.
And then there's like the cheering and stuff. It's awesome.
I've
I
seen
love
this
it.
on Twitter. So is it just like a thing that's in your garrison and you can kind of go over to it and click on it? It doesn't do anything else? Like
No, they have there's a new feature in Warlords. So it used to be that you had to have all of these kind of like one-off just fun items. And you had to have them in your bags or you had to have them in your bank. Well, now they have a toy box. So basically they've done for all of those little things the same thing that they've done for the companion pets, the battle pets, is that instead of having to have, and mounts for that matter too, instead of having to have them in your bag and have it be a spell you have to cast, it's in this like collection. So now there's a collection of all of these toy items called the toy box. So it's like another spell book. So you just, click on it in the spell book or you can drag it to your bar and then you have all of these cool fun effects. Like I killed some, something in Frostfire Ridge. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was like a frost elemental or something. And then one of my reward was I got a toy that makes my breath like I can see my breath from my character in the game. Like it's stupid vanity stuff, but it's so fun. And then so the Hearthstone board, you throw it down and the theme song from Hearthstone plays, and then you can click on it and you flip the table.
nice.
Yeah, so it's stupid fun stuff, and I love all of the nods that they've given to Hearthstone in Warlords because it just makes me so happy.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. I was managing my garrison. Dragon Age has sort of taken me away a lot from this game, and my followers are level 100, while I am still I'm probably lower than all my followers. I'm still level 92, but there's some items like some Hearthstone toy stuff that I'm trying to get as well through some rare like follower quests or something.
Oh yeah, you can get the signed Hearthstone card, I think, or autographed Hearthstone card. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
so I'm
super
working
cool.
on that now, and if my followers don't follow through, like it's gonna be hell to pay.
Exactly. That's pretty cool too. I think it's signed by Trump and Reckful maybe.
Yep.
Yeah. yeah, so it's, oh man, it's so fun. But I did hit level 100, and I am having such a great time. I was saying this, I think, was I talking to you off air?
Yeah, well, we were texted earlier today, but I don't think we were talking about Warlords.
Yeah, I can't remember who I was talking to. Anyways, basically, oh, maybe Josh. Anyways, doesn't matter. So,
Wait, let's stop. Let's figure this out here. Solve this mystery. Let's go down the list.
basically, I've got my character, and my problem with just WoW in general has always been not necessarily a lack of story, because I really like the lore, I really like the world, but a lack of, continuity. Like, it was really hard to tell before what was a main quest, what wasn't a main quest, and all that kind of stuff. But now I find in Warlords, it was very easy to follow along with the story, and it's a good story. I mean, like, there's cinematics, there's voiceover, there's all kinds of stuff that just pulls you through the main quest, and it's so good. I think the only zone that I really haven't enjoyed so far is Nagrand, and that's mostly just because I got to the point where I was, I think like level 98 and a half probably when I hit Nagrand, and I was like, damn it, I just want to get to level 100, I just want to play things with my friends, so I just didn't even read the quest in Nagrand, and I just went and tried to level as fast as possible, so that's totally on me, but even then, it was really easy to kind of follow along with where I was supposed to be going, so... Although I did hit one quest that was totally bugged, and I couldn't figure out how or where to turn it in. But
yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I know you have another character at 90, and theoretically, you could probably
two
go
other
back
90s.
290. Sorry. How many boosts did you get?
All of them.
Oh, okay. So do you have 2 boosted 90s?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I was gonna say, like, I've only got 190. I have the boost, but I don't know. Like, I kind of just want to experience it. It means I probably won't be raiding. And there was that. This happens to me in games all the time, especially MMOs. There's that sweet spot where everyone's at the same level, and maybe like the first week and a half.
I would say it lasted probably until like, the people that I normally play with. I mean, our raid team. Most of them were level 100 by like Monday, because our raid's on Wednesday, and I remember looking at it going, crap. And then yeah, pretty much everybody was around 100 on like Monday last week, and then by the time I hit on Thursday night, like, oh my god, was that last night? No, Wednesday night. I hit it on Wednesday night, right? Yeah, because we were smiting last night. I was like, this doesn't even make sense. It's all blurring together on my stupidly late night gaming.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's for
like
Fridays and Saturdays, Jocelyn. Come on.
when I hit on Wednesday night, I was like the last one out of all my friends, and I was like, guys, like, this game hasn't even been out a week yet. Like, Thursday was the 1 week anniversary. It's crazy, and I feel like I was just so far behind.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, I see. This is the thing. Like, there's that period where you're all at the same spot, except for the people in our raid team who have evidently just played WoW nonstop and hit 100. Like, that's the only way I can explain it. Like, I was playing it pretty religiously. Like, the first couple of days it was out, and I have barely scratched the surface. And I mean, that's how I intend to continue playing. Like, just, moseying on through. It sucks because now I'm not going to be able to experience dungeons the way I want to experience them, with people I know, and slowly in a story format, everyone's kind of going to be like, have them on farm or something. But
well, and that's kind of why I wanted to get to 100 as soon as I could. And I mean, I obviously lost a whole bunch of game time because I had my eyes done, so I couldn't play Saturday, Sunday, Monday, really. But basically, I just, like, I wanted to do specifically PvP. I love PvP. It is the best way to gear up right now because if you win the battleground, you get a lockbox. You get a lockbox regardless, but they're like bronze, silver, and gold depending on how well you do. So if you win the battleground, you get a gold lockbox, and it has a really, really high chance of having a piece of 620 gear in it. So 620 is like the best you can get even in heroics. So if you're winning battlegrounds, then you're going to gear up so quickly. I got 3 pieces, I think, on Wednesday night. I was playing with a couple of people, and I think, yeah, we won 3 battlegrounds. I got 3 pieces of 620 gear, and my eye level went from like 580 to 607 from those in an hour and a half. Like,
Wow.
it's just crazy because you're just, the queues are really quick. Everyone's PvPing. It's so much fun. I love it. I need to switch my spec, but that's a whole other story. So really that's what I wanted to get to was this PvP experience. So, chat room's telling me heroic dungeons are 630. So the best you can get is 636. So, but still, like 620 gear pieces are awesome. They're excuse me, enough to, or more than enough to get you into Molten Core, which is the 40-man anniversary raid. So
When does that end?
January, I want to say 9th. I feel like it's like 35 days or 36 days or something. I follow a Twitter account. I think it's like the town clock or something like that. Anyways, it tells you everything in Blizzard games, like what's starting and ending when. So I think today it was 36 days left in the anniversary event, I think.
Interesting.
But yeah, so no, it's really, really cool. I'm really enjoying it, loving PvP. I did a few dungeons too, and it's just like all my friends were up at 100, and if I didn't get there, I was going to miss all the content. So now at least I'm playing things and experiencing things that people are also experiencing for the first time, because that was my experience in Miss, is that everyone had already done it, everybody knew it, and I felt like I was not necessarily getting carried through everything, but it was just kind of like, oh, well, yeah, we just have to wait a second because Joss doesn't actually know what we're doing, so we have to explain everything, and everyone's like, okay, do you get it? Are you ready? I'm like, okay, yeah. Whereas, like, I had an experience, we played the train dungeon, and I don't know what it's called, but it's literally you're on a train, like, flying through whatever, I'm not even sure what zone.
Interesting.
It's really, really, really cool. And nobody knew, like, we were reading the dungeon journal, but nobody knew exactly what we were supposed to do for all of these bosses. So, we went in, we tried it, we wiped, we tried it again, and we wiped, and then we tried it again, and I was like, oh, well, I think if we do this thing and then we do this thing, then we can probably beat him that way. And then it worked, and I was like, oh my God, guys, like, we figured it out. I figured something out, and wow, like, I was so excited, and it was such a great experience. And I haven't had that experience in the game yet because I've been so far behind everybody all the time that by the time I catch up, it's not fun anymore. So, I mean, I know that the story's really good, and I probably shouldn't have rushed through, and I will go back, and I'm going to do, like, I skipped an entire zone. I skipped Gorgrond or something like that, and whatever's right after Frostfire Ridge, because I took my time in Frostfire, and I did every quest available. So by the time I actually moved out of that zone, I was, like, almost 95. So I just, I skipped the zone and went straight into the zone, Terakar Forest with the all the Shatrath stuff and the Akandun stuff, and oh man, the Arakoa, I get, yeah, Arakoa.
The birds.
The birds, yeah, the birds. Oh man, so good. So I really enjoyed the zones that I took my time in, and so obviously, don't take my Nagrand experience with a grain of salt. There was one thing that I thought was really weird, though. In Nagrand, there's this, there's a section of quests do you remember the Throne of the Elements in Nagrand in Burning Crusade? There's like all the big
years ago.
Yeah, all the big giant elemental dudes. Well, basically you go and you talk to them and you do a bunch of quests and you like attune yourself with the elements like a shaman. And I'm like, but I'm not a shaman. I'm a hunter. Like it almost like cheapens what shamans were if everyone can do it. It really kind of threw me off from like a lore perspective. And I'm like, I get that they want everyone to experience the Throne of the Elements and, all that kind of stuff. But some of the language around it, I was like, but I'm not a shaman. This is weird. Weird. But anyways, yeah, we don't want to talk too much about Warlords. I just wanted to let everybody know that, yeah, I'm 100 now. I'm having a great time. And all the PvP.
Sweet. I got to try some PvP. I got to get back in there. I'm getting there.
You do.
I need it's funny, like, Christmas holidays, I'm started chunking out my time. That's right, chunking out my time.
Yeah.
I went there. We'll see, like, Warlords is going to be snug. It's going to get a day and a half probably. Like,
yeah.
It's going to be so much free time to play some video games.
Your time has really been taken up right now because you have been playing the crap out of Dragon Age. So is there anything else you want to, because we talked a little bit about it last week, but is there any kind of updates? Like, what have you been up to in I guess last weekend?
I left the fucking hinterlands, which was advice that Reddit gave everybody very loudly and with swear words. I cleaned it up a little bit actually.
Really?
I removed the guaranteed it like meme as well image. Like no one needed to see that. I mean, it's just we get your point. But it's funny like that game when they were developing it, they said, we're looking at Skyrim. Skyrim was big, same year as Dragon Age 2, blew it out of the water. And BioWare is like, okay, we have a new bar. It's got dragons in it better than our namesake, so we better like look at this Skyrim game and try to, try to aim for that. So and they did, so much so that the first sort of realm is huge, and there's like quests everywhere, and it's almost like a condensed MMO, more so than Skyrim was, in the sense that there's quests everywhere. There's a bunch of like gather quests, there's story quests, there's side quests and stuff. But one of the things it does is, for completionists like me, you can kind of get stuck. It's like, oh, quest, ooh, quest. Oh, I'm gonna help this person. Oh, this person has like everyone's trying to help the Inquisition because the Inquisition is trying to save the world. So everyone's like, "Oh, I totally agree with your cause, but it'd be great if my wife would go kill those wolves." It's like, well, geez, you're gonna send your wife? Why don't I just go do it? It's like, well, I was also trying to kill my wife, but if you could take care of that too after you take care of the wolves, that'd be great. Obviously, I'm making this up, and I don't want to
No
spoil it.
spoilers.
Yeah, there's no spoilers, so anything you hear from me story-wise is just outrageous lies to throw you off the path.
So I think that's kind of the issue that I've had in the past with games. I did it with Mass Effect 3. I did it with Kingdoms of Amalur, which is kind of the reason why I just dropped that game completely. But I'm a completionist from like an achievement standpoint, but not necessarily from a do every quest standpoint. And so in Mass Effect, I did a whole shit ton of multiplayer to make sure I was always at 100% resources because I wasn't doing all the side quests. It was like, oh my god, the Reapers are invading, everyone on Earth is dying, like, go, go, go through main story, go, 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 go. And it, like, that kind of intensity just kept me going through the main story, and I didn't do a whole lot of extra stuff. And same in Kingdoms of Amalur, I enjoyed the main story, but then I kept getting stuck because I hadn't gone and helped the woman find her 20 chickens, you know? So I was just kind of like, well, I want to move forward in the story. This boss and his mechanics are really cool, but I just can't beat him because I'm not high enough level yet. And then so I had to go back to this like town, 3 towns back, and find a bunch of chickens and then go pick some flowers, and doing all of those things that take me away from the main story just totally killed the game for me, and I never went back to it. So I don't know. I don't want a game where you have to do all the side stuff. Like, it's side stuff for a reason.
Yeah,
I think.
you don't have to. I don't think. I mean, I haven't got to a point where it's like, you're not going to be able to beat the big baddie because you didn't get those horses from Father John. So it's like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think, but there's got to be some meaningful impact. There's got to be that balance. And I think BioWare's really learned from their experience with Dragon Age 2 and their experience with Mass Effect 3, because the multiplayer is completely separate in Inquisition. I have not touched it yet, so I can't really say whether it's good or not.
Make sure you do by next week, because I want to hear about what the multiplayer's like.
Yeah, me and Vethrath, I think, are going to roll through some dungeons together and check that out for next week. But so it's completely separate. One thing I noticed is, and even Josh, who's beaten it, our good friend Josh Cook, he said, just, do the story. I was still in the hinterlands. I was kind of messing around. It's like, I'm having fun doing what I'm doing, but it's not quite living up to everybody else's.
All the hype.
Exactly. Yeah. And he says, just go do 1 or 2 story missions, then you'll understand what everyone's talking about. So I did that, and it was like, oh, okay, this is the story. We're heading in a direction. I love where it's going. And of course, as you're probably aware with a lot of BioWare games, once you finish a story mission, it unlocks new dialogue with your companions. And they're throwing companions at you right at the beginning, just boom, 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 boom. Like, so you have them all in, so your camp, or the ones that I've discovered so far, I'm only probably like 20 hours in. And after every story mission, you go talk to them, and there's new dialogue, there's new, quests that open up. You can literally like call somebody out on shit. You can find out history about like heroes from the first game. That's the other thing too, is that when compared to two, this one has a lot more connections to the older games. So in Mass Effect 3, when you were like super psyched when you got to talk to that character that you talked to in the first one, you never got that in two, minus a couple scenes where someone said, "Yeah, the hero Ferelden's like writing a book or something about her adventures," and I'm like, "That's great." I mean, I played that game. I was probably the one that wrote that book. I mean, whatever. And the king shows up and he says something weird and he walks away. But in this one, there's like characters coming back. You're having dialogue about like throwaway dialogue that you wouldn't even know is connected to the first game unless you like you remembered it or you read the Wikipedia article about like, oh yeah, I remember doing that quest 8 years ago, you know?
Hmm.
So that's really neat and really great fan service. But just the dialogue with the followers is what I play these games for. I just love BioWare dialogue and how quirky it is when it wants to be quirky and how serious it is. These scenes that they set up, like there was a scene I watched last night. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's probably one of the most like powerful scenes I've seen in a video game all year. You know,
Oh, really?
where something happens,
What
you
else
know.
happened this year? I'm trying to think if
Well,
that's like a huge comparison or if that's like because nothing else was impactful at all.
Well, I mean, when was the last time anything super crazy happened? I mean, video games don't really offer scenes like that very often. You know, I mean, there's the occasional few, like we mentioned a couple weeks ago with that one, the cinematic at the end of Frostfire
Mm.
Ridge or whatever. That was powerful.
Yeah, there's a lot of powerful stuff going on in WoW right now. StarCraft, Heart of the Swarm. There was some pretty crazy stuff in
Yeah.
that.
There's a little sprinkling. I'm not trying to dismiss like what games are
Although
good.
I know Heart of the Swarm isn't this year, obviously, but
Yeah, but this
interesting.
moment was very. It, it wasn't like it didn't have the grandeur that other BioWare games had, where they had like multiple games to build up to this moment, where they, you know, it was kind of easy just to be this powerful thing. But this was just it took, you know, your story progression from the last quest and just like knocks it out of the park and sets up this, you know, the second act really well. And I'm trying not, so if this sounds really vague, it's because I'm not trying to spoil it. Everyone should experience this game. If you're into RPGs, you like open world stuff, you dig dialogue. Like I just finished the first act and I spent 2 hours just walking around talking to my people,
Hmm.
you know, because you're the guy, right? So you're talking to all these people and you're like, "Oh, how's this and how's that? What do you think?" And you know, there's new characters coming in and it's just really well done and probably a big contender for game of the year. Like that's
I've
why
I've heard that from a lot of different people.
yeah, and
I've also
it's
heard Goat Simulator is Game of the Year
I
contender.
think people are just messing with you on
Yeah, I
Twitter.
know.
And I know like there's a lot of stiff competition this year, like obviously Warlords, and I don't know what other games. It's kind of a blur.
Well,
Maybe
technically Hearthstone was released this year.
sure we can go with Hearthstone, you know, Shadow of Mordor, or I don't know, like Smash Brothers, I guess if you're into Smash Brothers. Although that's just Smash Brothers. But when I compare Dragon Age and Warlords, it's like I'm more of a story person. So like the quests I'm doing in Dragon Age are just so much more impactful than what I'm doing in Warlords because it's kind
Hmm.
of like collect a bunch of stuff for 20 minutes and then, you know, go kill some dudes, then follow a guy around to kill dudes. And I know I'm kind of dismissing a lot of like there's a lot of great stuff in Warlords because at the end there's this big payoff. Like that cutscene in Frostfire Ridge is probably the best thing I've ever seen in Warlords, but there's stuff like that happening in Dragon Age like around every corner. Like these
Hmm.
because it's a very different game. You're comparing
Yes.
something that's single player experience to something that's meant for a bunch of special little snowflakes, right? Like as opposed to one special snowflake in Dragon Age.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm really digging it, and people really need to check this game out on whatever system they can get their hands on it. Although I would probably avoid it on the previous gen systems. Val, good friend of the show, was telling us that not looking so hot on the 360.
Yeah, yeah. They probably had to cut a lot of corners to make it work over there. So I'm going to pick it up eventually.
Good.
Again, like this weekend, I am finding time for Call of Duty if it kills me. I
Perfect.
promise.
Hopefully it doesn't kill you or make your eyes bleed.
Yes. Yeah, my eyes were definitely bleeding last weekend. So sorry about that, guys. Now that I'm level 100 in Warlords, I can, kind of scale back from that a little bit. But yeah, I am looking forward to getting into Dragon Age and so much Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But yeah, and one other thing we should mention that we're going to be getting into sometime in the next week is Game of Thrones comes out, the TellTale game, which I am super excited about. So do we know what that's covering?
That is, it's 6 episodes spread between seasons 3 and 5, following the House of Forrester, I believe.
Ah, interesting. So we're going to probably, same sort of idea as Walking Dead, where we're going to probably run into characters we recognize, but not playing characters we know.
You won't be playing them. The
Yeah.
trailer kind of gave us a glimpse. Like if you go to the Steam page, you can see.
I've been trying to stay away from all of these, and I mean, we talked about it off air just with movie trailers a little bit, but I'm finding that trailers in general seem to be just giving me way too much information about everything, whether it's video games, whether it's movies, whatever. Just they're like, here's all the things that are going to hook you, except for, oh, whoops, that's actually kind of a spoiler.
Yeah.
And so I've just been trying to keep myself away from a lot of that kind of stuff. So I don't know anything about a lot of these games that I'm picking up and playing outside of things I've heard from friends, which, I find word of mouth, usually people are good about not spoiling things, but telling you if it's good or not and telling you if it's worth picking up. And I'd rather do that than see trailers or read reviews for something that I really want to play. So
Yeah, the game actually doesn't even have a full-on trailer. Like the teaser that's out there is just like a couple of animated shots of main characters that will show up and some of the characters you'll play. The actual trailer comes out a day before the game releases, which is next Tuesday. And,
right.
the funny thing is, the one disappointment about it is that it doesn't look like Telltale has upgraded their engine. Which I know when we were playing Wolf Among Us, I was kind of like, if they do this engine with Game of Thrones, and the lip syncing's off and it's really chuggy, I just don't know, guys. Someone's gonna have to stop giving Telltale a pass on their engine just because the story is so fantastic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. The point of
Yeah.
mentioning that was to let everybody know that you should go pick up Game of Thrones if you want to follow along with us next week, because we are going to do a full spoiler cast of episode 1 next week. So be prepared for that. If you don't want to hear it, skip episode 147 because it will have a whole big chunk of Game of Thrones spoilers in it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that. So on that note, I just wanted to remind everyone that Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, Doghouse Systems. They have their holiday sale that's going on right now. It's November 17th until December 17th. So head on over to doghousesystems.com and see what kind of deals you can grab. Which brings us to our topic of the week this week. Which, are we going to do a topic this week? We've got 5 minutes, dude.
I don't know. I threw these in here. I didn't know how long we'd talk about little toys and dragons, so it's up to you.
Okay, so basically we've got, let's just do one quick piece of news here. So
Sure.
We talked last week about basically day one glitches and how much it sucks that things are just being sold, but they then need to be immediately patched and these big AAA people just rushing things out the door. So first of all, we had Warlords, and Blizzard ended up giving everybody 5 days of game time. Well, now Ubisoft has apologized for the total and utter broken mess that was Assassin's Creed, and is giving the first DLC, which is something Kings, Dark Kings, Dead Kings, something.
Dead Kings? Dead Kings.
Dead Kings, giving you that for free. And if you're a Seasons Pass holder, which means you would have already purchased that DLC, then they're giving you a free game. And there's some pretty big titles on that list. I feel like they did a better job than EA did with the whole SimCity mess. We've got the Far Cry 4, Watch Dogs. I feel there's 5 or 6 different titles you can choose from if you bought the DLC pack. So basically, if you've got the Seasons Pass, that's what, $25?
Yeah.
And that includes all the DLC for Assassin's Creed Unity. So Have they said how many DLC packs they're actually going to get? Or they're actually going to do?
There's 2 campaign stories and plus a full-on side-scrolling game, like a separate entity that you can download and play, featuring
Okay.
a new
So even
assassin.
even if we split that in
Hmm.
three, and just, call it $8 a pop.
Sure.
So for $8 worth of your season's pass, they're giving you like Far Cry 4, which is like a $60 game. They're taking this whole "we're really sorry" thing to a whole nother level. Although the Unity issues were on a whole nother level too. But I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about them throwing free games around?
Well, this is the issue. You compare it to the SimCity fiasco, and um, I would say it's very on par with that in terms of the broken state of the game. Like you, when you
Well,
compare
because we
Unity's
weren't
issues.
we were talking last week about I mean, it was a funny bug. It was my
Yeah.
favorite bug was the no face bug because it just looks so creepy, like floaty eyeballs in the middle of nothing. And so that's not necessarily game breaking. Jarring, yes, takes you out of the experience, yes, but not game breaking. But that was one of hundreds of things that were wrong, and it took them 3 or 4 major patches over the last week to fix everything. And even then, I'm sure it's not 100% fixed, but there were game breaking bugs that actually shipped. So it's not just, like funny little cosmetic things. We are talking issues on a SimCity scale, which I love that SimCity is like the bar for shitty
Yeah.
launches.
But that's the thing, is that they gave a free game away to all people who purchased. When you look at my situation where I got Unity, I didn't pay for it. I got it through my video card purchase, but still, like it's a game that I chose. I could have gone with Far Cry. I could have gone with The Crew, which are two other Ubisoft games that I'm sure will be.
And
Far Cry 4 has its share of issues, but
the crew isn't even out yet, is it?
The Crew is out. I think it's out. I think it is out now, or maybe
Point
it's
is,
out in
it's like
December.
it's a brand spanking new title.
It is brand new, but it's also a very online connected game. And if Ubisoft has proved anything, is like they're not very good at making those types of games, at least not this year. But the thing is that like what they're rewarding my good consumerism with is a piece of DLC that has no release date.
Right.
We don't know when it's coming out. We don't even know what it is. It could be a couple missions. It could be a full-on story. We don't know. Um, and who's to say the game Unity will even be in a playable state when that DLC actually finally ships? And it's DLC that takes place after the main campaign, so I got to actually beat the game before I can
Right before you
play.
can take advantage, yeah.
Yeah, before I can play their apologies. So it's kind of like you look at this and it's like, well, I understand rewarding season pass owners, but I think what they should have done is they should have just said, you know, here's your options. You can return Unity and get your money back, which they have avoided flat out. Same with, yeah, I think SimCity did allow you to return for a refund, did they not?
I feel like you could in the first like 24 hours or something like that.
Okay.
Like there was a very, very, very small window.
And see, that's what I don't understand. Like when you go to Walmart and you buy a toaster and it's broken, doesn't work, it doesn't toast, or maybe it lights your bread on fire. I don't know. Whatever it does not create toast. You take it back, they give you your money back.
Yeah.
It's a faulty product. They say, hey, if you want, you can get this other toaster that doesn't turn your toast into,
Charcoal.
charcoal. Thank you. You can do that. It's like, yeah, sure. I actually do need a toaster, so I'm going to take the toaster that works. So I wonder why Ubisoft is so adamant that you keep their game. Like maybe it's to prove that they will fix it eventually, but I think along those lines they should have offered the free game to everyone or a refund.
Yeah.
Again, I'm in a weird situation where I, maybe I would have liked to switch my game from Unity to Far Cry, but for those who have bought it and purchased the season pass, I can imagine they're not too happy. This is a good
Well, and we
start,
should
but
we should also mention that they've actually stopped selling the season's passes for Assassin's Creed Unity, so you can't buy it because that's what my first thought is. Oh, sweet, free game if I buy the season's pass. I was gonna buy Unity eventually anyway, so I'll just buy Unity, the season's pass, and get a free game. Yeah, no, doesn't work like that, guys.
well,
Sorry.
I was the first thing I saw this, I was like, ooh, I was gonna buy the season. When I actually picked up Unity, they said, hey, you want the season pass? Give it to you 10% off, and I'm like, I'll have a chance to buy it later. I kind of wish I had bought it because
Well, yeah.
I do like Assassin's Creed to a fault too. Like I really like Assassin's Creed. I'll play every game that comes out within reason. Although that reason hasn't really sparked up lately. I've kind of bought them all and played them all, but and I really like the DLC they put out. I think they do DLC really well with these titles, and I don't know. I just for some reason I didn't purchase it, which is very un-Ryan
It's
like.
yeah, that's really weird for you.
I know. Usually I'm like, I'm all in. Borderlands 2, I'm totally going to play this game. I'm going to get all the DLC. Well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's a good start, and I think these companies really just need to offer refunds.
Very true. And really quickly too, because the chat room's asking about it. Black Friday is today, happening right now. So did you see any really cool deals? Jim in the chat room says Skyrim is $10 on Steam and Titanfall is $5 on Origin, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't actually bought anything yet, but there are some titles that I'm looking at picking up. I can't remember anything off the top of my head right now, but I feel like I saw Beyond Earth. So the Civ game was a pretty good deal. I feel like it was like 30% off, which again, that only came out a few weeks ago. So there, yeah, there's some stuff out there.
I am currently on the edge of purchasing Shadow of Mordor, which is only 35 right now.
Right. Yeah. You've been walking.
And then I'm at a point where I'm like, it's the same price on PS4 and PC, and I'm like, do I buy it for console or do I buy it? Again, I think I'm just trying to distract myself until the sale's over. But another game that looks really really neat is the re-release of Sleeping Dogs, which is only $10. It's like a super high def. It's a higher def version of a game that came out a while ago. It's a completely redone. They redid it for the consoles, similar to what they did with Tomb Raider, but this time they actually re-released it on PC as well. So, one game I am actually looking to go on sale is Massive Chalice, which is a early access Double Fine game. Sort of mixes XCOM with like lineage management. So it's about you're solving this world problem, but you do it through generations of families, and you like match people up to create a strong bloodline, to create good warriors, and it just looks really neat and something I've never played before. So I'm on the lookout for that one. But I have not picked anything up yet.
I'm just looking. So Dark Souls, the Prepare to Die edition is 75% off. Not that that's something that I'll be picking up, but it's available. 50% off Black Flag, 75% off Arkham Origins, which is the Batman title that came out last year. Like just there's some pretty big deals going on Steam right now. So I think just go check it out. I think check your wish list first and foremost if you've been kind of keeping up on that. I mean, Darksiders 2, which I played and was really, really fun, is only $5. And I mean, it's a few years old now, but still a really good game. If you like the Darksiders franchise and you haven't played that yet, go pick it up. It's way different than the first game, but still very, very like Dark Zelda. Very cool. But yeah,
there's a lot of sales. Like
there's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, Banner Saga is a good one. That's got a really cool art style. Endless Legend looks kind of neat. Have you ever played those like what they call 4X strategy games? I've always wanted to get into them, but they just look so complex. And that one actually looks pretty cool. It looks like you're like managing a fantasy civilization. It looks really neat. But no, there's going to be lots of deals until they're going to refresh this twice more.
Yeah, and I mean everyone should keep an eye out for, especially if you're looking at PC titles, for Cyber Monday. We've got all the online shopping day on Monday, so keep an eye out. You might get even better deals if you just kind of hold off. So but yeah, I think that pretty much does it for this week. I just wanted to remind everybody that if you want to show off your TGI pride, you can head on over to slashloot.com. That's SLASH loot.com and grab yourself a Gamers In t-shirt. There's tons of other awesome shirts, including ones from all of your favorite podcasts like Azeroth Roundtable, Torrent Think Tank, Zombies Ate My Podcast, and The Angry Chicken. So go to slashloot.com and show off your podcast pride. Before we head out, we just wanted to thank our patron of the week this week, who is Evan O. So thank you very much for helping us out over at patreon.com/thegamersin. And if you would like to be a patron, we have all kinds of perks, which pretty much right now we've got game night because we've hit our first milestone. So we do game night every Thursday night. And if you are a patron, then you get a first shot at one of the spots. And you also get to tell us what to play. So if you want to watch us play something other than Smite, really and truly, we do ask every week. And every week people tell us to play Smite. So if you want us to play something else, the best way to do that is become a patron and let us know. Is there anything else you want to go over before we head out?
Oh, I don't know. I think that pretty much covers it. It's been a jam-packed episode, but I think it's high time we go play some video games.
I agree. So if you would like to visit us on the web, you can do so at gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on AMove TV along with other fabulous podcasts, including Into the Nexus, Campaign Roundtable, The Angry Chicken, and AMove Radio. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GISGamer. Ryan is at rmurphy. And don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. The video versions of all our episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Jocelyn Moffat. You can also find the show on Facebook and Google+. If you'd like to email the show and let us know what deals you picked up on Black Friday or how far along in Warlords you are or what you think of Dragon Age, you can do so at info@gamersinpodcast.com. Thanks for staying at the Gamers Inn, and remember, tune in next week. Game of Thrones spoiler show.
Ooh.
Fun, fun, fun.